Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, TVR.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Bryan, and very happy to have you in our SME Digital Fest 2020 online summit. Thank you so much for joining, and you'll be discussing about how to close your account without an accountant. And
Yep.
in this tough period, how do we go about dealing with accounts so that to keep things a bit, to ease things regards to accounting.
Yep.
So thank you so much for joining us. All yours, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. So just give me a moment. Let me just set up the share session.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a very good morning. I guess it's a wonderful sharing by Mr. Iraziz just now, and it makes me so nervous right now because it seems like everything that he has, I have it too, and no, like I think I can already expect the next question coming from the Q and A is like, what make you different than the previous speaker and stuff like that. So I think let me just set the expectation right at the very beginning. I think Office Central is definitely a very wonderful software by itself, and I'm sure that it looks powerful to me. I mean, I'm impressed too as well. So, but then when we Biztory looking at the market, looking at the problem in market right now, we think that there are still a lot of all these micro and small businesses. When we say micro and small businesses, we are talking about team less than 10, less than 20, and they might not have a very clear departmental between teams, and they will know like one league cake, a boss will have to do everything else. So that sort of situation. So when we have that kind of situation, how do we make our time effective, efficient, and we make our work daily routine to be able to automate as much as possible, and then at the same time it's not too hard for us to tackle. So let's go into the agenda a little bit. So this is the agenda. So first we will talk about.
Sorry, Bryan.
Yep.
Have you started the screen sharing? Because we
Yes.
can't see anything yet on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
How
okay.
about?
Now it's yeah. Now we can see.
Okay. Right. So is how about now? Is
Yep,
the
yep. Now we can see.
now you can see,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
you can
Sorry.
look at the agenda, right?
Yeah. Now.
So just quickly run through the agenda. So we will start talking about the current challenge, what we are facing as a micro and small businesses, and then how do we survive? Because as opposed to those normal, I think talking about enterprise, yes, everyone is suffering, everyone is struggling, but for the small and micro businesses especially, we are not talking about struggling, we are talking about surviving, because we might not even exist anymore after the lockdown I mean dismissed. So that is a very crucial issue that we are facing, and how are we going to overcome it? And then so what's the accounting process as a whole? And then of course we also start to like introduce a little bit about what is Biztory, and then finally what's in it for you. Okay, so let's look at the global crisis right now. I'm sure that everyone know, like, the reason. This is also one of the reason why brought us everyone come to the webinar today, because we are being locked down. By the way, everyone can see my slide right now. That I actually switched to another slide, just to be sure that I actually switched to the next slide already. Okay, I think that's the challenge when we come to the webinar. I'm not sure that whether I'm actually showing the right content, but hopefully it is. So we're talking about the global crisis right now. SME is being, um, because of this coronavirus, we are being locked down. And then it seems that the health issue is a huge issue. But I think, to me personally, in my opinion, I think the biggest victim due to this incident is actually the small and medium enterprises, especially the micro one. And according to the scientists, the reason why we are having all this lockdown is because we want to isolate ourselves, quarantine ourselves, and so that the case will go into zero. But according to the scientists, it says that it might actually extend to 28 days in order to achieve zero case. So can you imagine that what if this lockdown is being extended for another 14 days to end of like end of April? So how does it affect and impact your business? So these are the statistics that are actually extracted from national statistic, that we're seeing that this is just talking about Malaysia alone. 90%, over 95% sales drop, and 80% of the business, because of all this lockdown, we have to temporarily close down. And it will be more than, it won't be surprised that more than 90% of the business will go unstable up to 6 months. So this is a huge issue. And if you are the SME, how are you going to survive, right? So I think when we talk about survival strategy, a lot of times we are saying that there are basically two main strategy. So one is either we actually increase our revenue stream to increase our income to go through all this tough time, or we go for cost saving. So of course we can do both at the same time. But let's look into this strategy specifically. So I think when it comes to the revenue stream, if we want to increase the revenue stream, I think increasing sales is all this while. I mean, every boss is actually looking into that as well. It's actually an ongoing process. But then, can you imagine that because of all these crises, right now, everyone seems to be a little bit skeptical to spend. People will become more careful when they're going to spend, especially for SME, because SME is the most cost sensitive entity, right? So we spend every single dollar and cent carefully so that it won't actually, like we have very limited resources. So that's why if you want to increase your sales, you can't actually hire a team right now, because you don't know that whether after hiring the team, it will actually increase your sales or not. And you will also be very careful when you want to do your advertising, because even you do the advertising, if you have the sales, would you will have the lead, will you be able to actually attend that? So all these things, so there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the sales part. So then on the other hand, when it comes to the cost management, it seems to be more manageable, because everything it's actually under your control. You know that where is your cost is in your business expenses per se, and then where can you actually look into that to optimize the cost, especially during this work from home period. You know that how your process, how do you keep your operation going without even after you remove some of the resources, removing some of the team, removing some of the costs, will still keep your operation going. So that's the part that I like to discuss in this sharing. So when it comes to the, so I think in conclusion for this, just to make a short conclusion over here, to me personally, I think the survival strategy is we need to look into the cost. How can we actually manage the cost more effectively, and then keep your cash flow healthy, so that you can also stabilize your supply chain, and that will keep us at least surviving throughout this 3 to 6 month period. And then only we talk about how do we grow our company, right? So, but then when it comes to the cost saving part, so what cost can we actually save, right? So there are a few common business expenses. I'm sure that everyone will know about that, right? We have advertising costs, we have like salary, payroll, we have rental and stuff like that. So I think there are pretty much costs that you can actually look into that to actually to to really like optimize it and see how much you can actually um, remove or optimize from there. But then for me personally, in my sharing, I would like to talk more about cutting costs on the accounting side. So because accounting expenses seems to be also essential for a company. But I heard that some of the company, they are not spending a single cent on accounting. They are pretty proud of that. I don't think that's the right way, the right mentality to go, because if you are not looking into your accounting, you have not spending anything on accounting. So it also means that, in my opinion, I think it's very near to a business close down as well, because see think of accounting like a dashboard. You see, like when you drive a car, you need to look into dashboard, right? Because the dashboard basically shows you all the metrics that how far are you going, how much fuel remaining in your tank, and then how fast are you going and stuff like that. So these are the important metrics when you're driving a car. Without that, you might not be able to drive a car safely and reach your destination. So again, same to your company as well. Do you actually look into your dashboard per se of your company, so that like accounting metrics is basically the indicator about how your business is doing, whether it's healthy or not. So I think it's very important as well when you also have to constantly look at your accounting dashboard to know where your company is actually heading. So that is the part that I like to discuss more. So when we look into the accounting process as a whole, the way I look at it, especially this is talking about small and micro businesses, definitely we will have invoicing, and then followed by bookkeeping. Then we talk about accounting review and audit and tax filing as well. So audit, of course, is not applicable to everyone. If you are a company, yes, it is. But if you are self-employed, then you might actually skip this part. And we know that there's also another new entity called PLT, which also be able to skip the auditing as well. So the audit might not applicable to everyone, but in general, these are the flow that we are looking at. So listen carefully. I think many SMEs been spending. If you are not spending, then that's not correct. But if you are spending that, that's good. But again, many SME has been spending this, but without knowing what's the content about that. What are they spending for? So I think it's also important for me to actually share with you to understand the entire workflow. How does it work, and then what are you paying for? I think it's important as well, so that you know what are you spending, because the entire idea is that for you to understand where your money is going to. So from the professional services aside, so when we talk about auditing, when we talk about auditing and tax filing, these are the professional services which basically for a company it might not be able to avoid. So I'd like to talk more on these three processes, right? So I'm sure that every company will have to issue invoice. So but then let's look back. How are you doing your invoicing? So are you using a paper, like you print out your invoice and then you write on that, or you actually do it through Excel? Again, I'm talking about the small and micro businesses. Some enterprise that might also practice this. I hope not, because it's really traditional. So, but then these are the way that you're doing the invoicing. You might actually send out quotation using Microsoft Word, Excel, and stuff like that. And then eventually, then you would also want to put it into the bookkeeping. So this is the part where a lot of SME try to neglect, and I think it's important as well, because this will actually help you to understand the accounting metrics. But again, a lot of people are not doing that. But even you are doing that, how are you doing that? So typically what they do is that from what has been invoiced, maybe it's actually in Excel or Word or whatever, they will pass on the paper or the PDF to the accounting, the bookkeeper, right? And then the bookkeeper, it could be an in-house bookkeeper, or it could be an outsourced freelance bookkeeper as well. Then they will actually do the data entry again to key in all the data, whatever that you have put from the invoicing, and put it into the accounting software. So typically, this is the repetitive task that actually repeating yourself, whatever that you have done here, and then they just key in again inside here. And again, sometimes they are just doing this for the sake of pushing the workflow down. Like you have to prepare the financial report so that you can actually prepare for accounting review, and so on and so forth. But to me, right, I think the importance of doing the bookkeeping is for you as a business owner to be able to understand how your business is doing. So that is, to me, that is the most important part for doing the bookkeeping, so that you know all the metrics, and then only you pass down to the accounting review. That is for you to actually do the tax computation, to do the reclassification, and like optimize your tax, classify it to the right way so that you get to enjoy the tax deduction and stuff like that. So again, this would actually be handled by either you have an in-house accountant, but if you are small, you might not be able to hire an in-house professional accountant. Then you might actually engage an external firm to help you to solve all that. And typically, what we do is that we will actually engage a firm which basically cover these three together. That's I think that's what I observed throughout my my own observation. That's how the SME is dealing with. They will actually take care of all this together from one firm. So when we talk about difficulty, of course, invoicing is very simple. Like you use Excel, whatever way you can do that. Bookkeeping is a bit moderate because you need some professional knowledge about that. And then talking about accounting review, putting it on the right category and to be able to enjoy the tax deduction, that is a bit high difficulty, right? So when we come to that part, how can we, since you understand all these things already, so how do we actually be able to save or look into the cost, and how do we actually be able to save more on that? So first thing first, to me, I think you have to, if you are not looking into paperless invoice yet, I think it's about time for you to look into that already. Because especially during this lockdown period, we also receive a lot of inquiry, and people like they also looking for way to save your cost because you want to survive, right? And then of course our software, we can actually give them for free trial and they can try it out. But the problem is that a lot of times we receive, then they say that I like to try it out, but the thing is all my documents actually left in the office, and for now I couldn't actually do anything yet as of now. So I think it's a bit sad to see that, because you see, when we come to this kind of critical moment and everything is being paper, and of course there is cost for first thing. You need to invest on your printer, you have to invest on your consumables, your toners, cartridge and all. So that's also not eco-friendly, of course, right? So going paperless, on the other hand, will also be able to let you manage your business anywhere, anytime, right? Because you can actually save it on a digital copy, then you can access it even you're not in the office. But then when it comes to the saving part, how do you store your data? We will also encourage you to go cloud. Reason is very simple, because it's actually centralized storage and it's unlimited and it's secure and simple, because you just have to put it on cloud. Even what I'm doing right now, it's actually a Google slide. I actually do it on cloud as well, because I don't use PowerPoint. I don't know what will happen. Like during the presentation, my laptop might go off, and then at least I have the backup on cloud. So it's simple, so you don't have to worry about that. And then of course, we will also encourage you to look into e-payment for B2B as well, especially if you are not looking into that. I'm sure that e-payment is not something new for retail business, but how about B2B? Because a lot of times the process that takes you from your invoice and getting paid, it's also a very prolonged process, and all the time right now is actually being done manual. So we would like to see how we can actually also automate that and move into e-payment as well. And then for the bookkeeping part, of course, you can use your software to automate it, as what Mr. Aziz shared just now. We can actually automate the accounting. It's not something new. It's not rocket science. I'm sure that you can use a lot of software to do that. You might not be necessarily be Biztory, but just find a software that you can understand. Then I think that's most important part, because there are so many software out there, and I'm sure that this is not a rocket science feature for most of the software. But you have to find a software that you can actually digest and understand as a business owner. Because to me, right, this portion, this pillar, the most important thing is not about doing the job, getting the job done. It's about understanding, digesting the data. To be able to understand the dashboard, to be able to understand and analyze where is your business going. Again, this is talking about the dashboard. So you need to find a software that you'll be able to understand that. Otherwise, like you are just investing a software and you're not using that, and I think that defeats the purpose, right? So you need to get you informed for your business and stuff like that. So since it's on cloud and everything on cloud, so when we come to the accounting review, right? When we come to the accounting review, now since the data is already on cloud, you might also get rid of the traditional way of like going to engage an offline freelance or external accounting firm, because basically that will actually incur costs for both party, because even when they have to travel to your place and you have to travel over that, all these are costs, right? All these are labor costs. So I think that is also, if you can actually bring it on cloud, bring it on online, just like how we do right now, and then that actually save costs for both party, and you get to enjoy the benefit as well. So going down to the workflow, of course, auditing is something that unavoidable. You have to pass to the certified auditor to do that. But of course, we have some panel auditor to be able to actually work hand in hand with Biztory client, and then that you also get to enjoy some saving from there. And then of course, when it comes to the tax filing, if your company, again, that's actually have to be done by a certified tax agent. That's not something that we can do much. But if you are self-employed, now you might also want to learn how you can actually do it yourself without hiring someone to do that, because it's not that difficult. I can guarantee you that you can just follow the tutorial and basically getting the crunching the number right, and you can just passing the number on, and then you can actually complete the tax filing by yourself as well. Okay, so now, so let me also introduce a little bit about ourselves. So BizStore is basically a cloud accounting software, but we focus more on the front part, which is the invoicing, billing part, and payment part. We want to position ourselves as a smart business assistant that's designed for small and micro businesses. So it's actually designed for someone who have zero knowledge about accounting. So we want someone that, like, even you are not having any accounting background, you will also be able to handle this piece of software, so that it's so simple that, like, you can actually get in touch of it. So you might also not have to hire a very professional people, so that you might also get to save a little bit from there. Of course, everything has been stored on cloud, so that you safe keep your data, your company data securely, and you don't have to worry about ransomware. So I understand that some of the company, they actually invest in on-premise solution, but you have to understand that when you invest in on-premise solution, that means you actually run your own server. You actually you might not run a own server as well. You might also actually own the server in your company, in your office. And previously, I mean, not long ago, we have the ransomware going around and just targeting all these SME, all these small and micro business who actually have an on-premise solution. Why? Because they understand that you do not have the technology resources to ensure that your data and your server is actually being secured, so that they can actually easily break in and actually like sabotage, or even want to blackmail you for in return for some benefit, for money, and for example. So I think it's also very important for you to choose the right solution, not only looking into cloud because of the convenience, but you also have to look into the security as a whole as well. Because by investing, some people will tell me that they feel that it's more secure if they actually have their own server, because no one actually get to access that. um, I, I can bet you that, like, as long as your data is online on cloud, it's nothing that it is no such thing that nobody can actually access. It's just a matter of people who want to spend the time to access it or not only. So don't no like don't think like you are actually in a closed door, like a black box is not. So in return, I mean, contrary, I would suggest that you look for a reputable cloud provider that actually secure your data. Since you are going cloud, go for the right one, go for the safe one. It's just like, like keeping your money under your bed, or you want to keep your money in the bank. So that's the kind of anatomy that the example that I like to share. And of course, our solution is also designed to be affordable, because the reason one of the reason why we want to drive this solution is also want to ensure that every small business could actually afford this, at least at the very least, this basics solution. So we actually set it at a very minimum price. At even you can start from 49, that's basic, but the most popular plan is actually 99 per month. So that is the kind of the pricing that we have. So some background about us: we have been in the market for 5 years. We have serving more than 6,000 SME across nationwide, 60 cities. Right now, we also have some renowned partner like for example, Hong Leong Bank. Just now, someone actually mentioned about bank feed. We are actually an exclusive accounting partner with Hong Leong, and we are also working into that as well. So hopefully we can actually bring that into reality very, very soon, so that for all the Biztory users and the Hong Leong users will be able to enjoy the automated bank feed from the bank itself directly, communicating to the bank system. Of course, we also integrate with some other renowned partner like Grab. We have payment gateway. We also integrate with Easy Store as well. So for the e-commerce automation. So for now, I would like to have a simple walkthrough about how do we actually run Biztory and give you a better idea how it works. So, and you look into it yourself and judge yourself whether it's simple enough for you to actually give it a head start on it, right? So I actually switched to the, this is my software, Biztory. So hopefully you have be able to look into, I mean, you are looking the screen already right now. So first off, you can actually key in your company, I mean the customer name. Like for example, I put in my name, and if the data is already inside, it will automatically just fill in all that for you. And then for here, it works just like Excel. You can just type whatever that you have, and if it's already in the system, again, you can just type and everything will just come out. Then you can just choose your pricing and whatever not. And then if you have this, let's say for example, I want to go for this um, iMac, and whatever the price has been captured here has been saved in the system earlier, it will just automatically pop up. So that is basically the simple thing, the simplest, the basic information that you need to feed into the system in order to generate um, an invoice. So you can just go ahead and save, and that basically works. So I'd like to share with you how it works. I mean, how it will look like. This is how it will look like when it comes to the sales invoice. You get to customize. Of course, you can actually customize it. You want to change the name, change the color, change the logo and the design, whatever not. You can actually just go ahead and change the customization over here. So of course, you can also put in some footer note, and then you want to put in some digital signature. Everything is okay. And then of course, traditionally, you can actually print it out, but I will encourage you to go for sharing it out, whether you actually share it to email or you want to copy a link, or you can actually share through WhatsApp as well. So this is the good thing about that. As soon as you can actually share this invoice out through email or WhatsApp, and then on the other hand, the customer will actually receive it through email or the link. So when you click on the link, what this is what they will see as well. It's a very similar interface, except that you do not get to customize it and stuff like that. But on top of that, if you have already enabled, so this is the invoice that you will receive if you actually email it out, and there's a button for you to click view full invoice. And then on the customer end, what they will see is that they will see there's an additional button for pay if you have already set up your payment gateway in the system. So the customer can just go ahead and click pay, and then it will just direct them to the payment gateway and proceed for the payment. So these are the things that it will already implemented in the system. So as soon as they make the payment, it's more or less the same user experience like how you purchase something online, like through Lazada or Easy Store, whatever. And then you will just get the payment done. As soon as the payment is done, the system will also automatically generate an official receipt to your customer. So you do not need to get someone to actually stand by there and issue the official receipt again. So that's how you actually get to enjoy and leverage on your digital solution. Once you move your business on cloud, move your business on digital. So that's how you can actually automate all your business processes as well. And then of course, on the other hand, on your end, the merchant side, you also get to see the payment get reflected and knock off on your invoice. So you don't have to like manually go back to your accounting software to actually do the double entry again. So of course, once you have all that, then this is how the dashboard will look like. So this is the dashboard in Biztory. So first thing first, we actually highlight the first four uh, main numbers that we think that is very crucial and critical for every businesses, especially for the micro businesses, because we are talking about cash flow. Cash flow is king. That is how we be able to survive as a micro and small businesses. So we look at how much cash in hand do we have, how much cash in bank do we have, and then what are the due amount that we can actually collect, the payable and the receivable. That's the technical, that's the accounting term, right? So we are talking about receivable and payable. But for a layman, what we understand is, like what are the outstanding that we need to collect from the supplier, you have to pay to the supplier, and what are the outstanding that's the due that's actually from the customer that we actually can collect, right? So we try to translate all the technical term, the accounting term, into something that's more layman that people would be able to understand, because we don't expect an accountant, an accounting background people to be to go and operate Biztory. We're expecting someone normal, just like me and you, to be able to run through the software easily as well. So then you get to see your business overview, how much sales that you are doing, some simple pie chart to give you some visualization, where are you doing and stuff like that. Of course, expenses breakdown is also one important thing, whereby you get to see which category you are spending a lot, and then each and every category, how much you spend, and you can actually compare it with previous month as well. And then if you have a sales team, you can actually allocate different salesperson with a different sales target. And here you also get to track what are their progress, and how much remaining that they need to chase for the remaining month, stuff like that. Right now, we also partner with, we recently, for information, Biztories also recently closed one fundraising round in January, and we are delighted to be able to get one of the accounting firm, a very reputable and experienced, more than 7 years accounting firm, which is R.W. William, um, to also be our one of the lead investor as well. So we also integrate some of the services and software together with them, and we have developed something called tax estimator to be able to estimate, just the estimated number about how much income tax your company income tax or corporate tax need to be paid by end of your year assessment, right? And then of course, if you need to know more about that, you can actually consult, and that will actually bring you directly to the accountant, the what we call the accountant in residence. So basically, you don't have to engage a accountant, but basically we will actually have all these bridge for you already, and you get to engage all these professional, of course, at a very fraction uh, of cost, because you get to share with other people as well, so that you don't have to engage an accountant full time, but they can actually serve you directly digitally. So when we comes to the tax submission part, then some of the information, some of the financial reports is already here for them to actually. You can actually, if you are proceed, you are going to proceed for the tax submission preparation, then these are the typical reports that you will need for the submission for the audit. So like for example, profit and loss, P&L, balance sheet, trial balance, EG and all. So of course you can go ahead and like you export it into Excel or print it out, and you pass to the auditor or your accountant, and that they get to process your data. But I will also suggest that instead of doing that, you can actually just create another user for your accountant to log in. Because why? Because everything has been linked here, which you can the accountant can just click in, and they can actually trace down, drill down all your invoicing details over here. So we make everything digital, and it's actually convenient for you and for the accountant, for the external accountant, and for the auditor as well. So that of course, when you save their time, you save the money as well, because time is money, right? So they bill you by their time. So if you be able to save their time, then definitely can also save you money, right? So again, we have some in-house accountant that can also help you on that if you need. We have the service as well. So let's go back here. So I think I cover most of the thing: how to prepare financial reports for tax purposes, how to understand your performance in dashboard, and then how to issue an invoice, right? So so now the beef part. So what's in it for you? So the pricing plan, we start from 490 per year, but the most popular plan is 990 per year. And again, um, we are also one of the technology service provider, solution provider for MDEC, which you also be able to enjoy this 50% matching grant. So that means you are only paying 495 per year, and you get to access all these feature. And this is the larger plan. Of course, if you have more users, then you can go for this plan. Uh, But I think right now, what I mentioned at the very beginning is that we are actually going through a very tough time. So we, Biztory, we also like to play our part, and therefore we actually come out something called COVID-19 relief. But of course, this is a very special package that we also want to limit it to the first 100 applicants. So what we are going to offer is that the software for M Plan, we are going to give it for free until your year assessment 2019, which is this year deadline. So tentatively, I heard that the deadline is on 30th of August, but I heard that it's again being extended again. No worries, if it's being extended, we are going to extend our free for you if you are one of the uh, first 100 applicants. So of course, this initiative is also because we want to like encourage and help all these micro and small businesses go through this tough time, because we understand that this is one of our responsibility. We need to file our tax. This is some unavoidable responsibility tax for one. But then at the other end, I also want to see that all these micro and small businesses, they start to plant in the mind that they have to digitalize their businesses. They have to look into the numbers of their business. So at the very least, you know how to manage your cash flow. And I think that's very, very important. So hopefully with this initiative, we will able to help some of the micro and small businesses, some of the micro and small businesses um, sustain and go through this tough time. So again, this is a benefit that we like to offer, but of course that is at our own cost. So hopefully, if you are not really the one that is being impacted by COVID-19 severely, please give priority to the one that actually am experiencing very heavily. So because you only have very limited applicants, and then again, because my topic is talking about how can you actually close your account without hiring, right? So we would also like to include free 2-hour online consultation by our accountant in residence to help you, to handhold you for an end-to-end walkthrough up to your tax submission. Does it sounds good? So hopefully that will actually help some of you to be able to like go through this tough time. So how do you apply that? Very simple. You can just register a free trial account and PM us on Facebook saying that we just put a keyword COVID-19, and our team will actually assist you from there.
Okay.
So this
Thank you,
is
Bryan. Yeah,
yep.
you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
add anything?
yeah. Let me just quickly wrap it up.
Okay.
So if you are interested, just register now. We give 30 days free trial. For those who don't get the COVID-19, no worries. You still get the 30 days free trial, no harm. You can just try it out for free and get to enjoy and experience how the software is actually benefiting you. Yep. So this is our website, www.biztory.com.my, and then there's a free trial button which you can click and register for you. Right.
Okay, thank
So
you so much,
that's all for my.
Brian.
Yep.
And we have a lot of questions, so I would suggest you try to keep it short. We have about 10 minutes to wrap up until we go for lunch.
Right,
So
right,
we
right.
have about 13 questions. Try your best to answer all the questions. If not, you can keep it short, and I'll just ask them to contact you personally.
Okay, okay.
So
Let me see how do I see the questions.
my client is traditional, meaning paper required in order to get invoice. So, what is the appropriate recommendation for one to get into paperless? Like, how do they begin?
Okay, I think in fact this is a very typical problem, and I will see that this is the golden opportunity, because you see now everyone try to work from home already, and you have to, again, it's all about education. One of the reasons why MDEC is actually like giving out all this matching grant is also try to change the entire atmosphere, the entire ecosystem. You want to change all this traditional. You want to put off all this old mindset. So it is time for you to educate your client as well, to tell them that no, you should actually start looking into that. Otherwise, your business couldn't proceed if there's anything happen like this. So, and that is definitely the future, right? So yes, you can still send out the invoice over the email, and they can still, if they still insist need the traditional paper invoice, they can still print it for themselves. But at the very least, for you, you can actually just like send it over, and then they can actually see the paper, I mean the invoice already, and whether they want to proceed there, as electronic or whether they want to print it out paper, I think it's up to them. But at very least, you already save cost on the paper already. Hope that
Okay.
answer your answer.
Okay.
Okay, Julia, I'm actually
Yeah.
be able to open up the Q&A already. I think I will just go through very quickly from here by myself.
Okay.
Yep. So the next question is actually include payroll. No, we
Yeah. Do
actually
you
just
include
for
payroll?
yeah. So we only focus on accounting, but we actually work with partner. So we actually integrate with Kaki Tangan, and I'm sure that he's also one of the speaker. So you can ask more question about payroll during his session. Okay. So can you migrate from MLB? Yes, we have the import feature for MLB. So very simple. You just register a free trial account, and then we have a live chat, I mean not live chat, a customer support button over here, which you can actually hit the help button, and then from here you just upload your MLB the file to our tech team. Our tech team will actually assist you from there, right? So any special offer for today, as I mentioned just now, there are two offer. In fact, there are three. One is actually you get to enjoy the matching grant as long as you are the eligible SME, then you get 50% off. And then secondly, if you are the micro and small businesses and you think that you're actually being impacted by COVID-19 severely, please go ahead and apply for the free, the COVID-19 relief, which we are going to give it for free up to your year assessment 2019, right? So just register a free trial account and then you PM us on Facebook saying COVID-19. And then for the rest of you, you can still enjoy it for 30 days free trial for you. Okay, next question, moving on. For invoice quota, it is monthly quota, yearly quota, or lifetime quota, right? In fact, the invoice is actually unlimited. So you can actually create as many invoice as you like. So we are not going to limit that for you. There's no any storage limitation. There's no any about the invoice. But then we actually impose a quota for the what we call the e-invoicing quota, right? So when we talk about e-invoicing quota, that means you can actually email your invoice to your customer from our system directly and get to enjoy all the payment gateway integration and stuff like that. So we have different limitation for different package, and again, it's actually upgradable, and definitely is actually very affordable. For another 50 or 500, I can't recall, but it's actually just about 5 to 10 ringgit. So it's actually very
Okay.
cheap. It's very affordable, right? And it get to reset every month. So don't worry. If you finish, you actually depleted the quota this month, you can actually just going to reset next month. So don't worry. So it's the recommended package for unlimited numbers of company. Okay. There's a very special way. The way that the business model about Biztory is slightly different. We don't go by unlimited number of companies. Each Biztory account is actually entitled for one company only, right? So if you have two companies, you need to have two Biztory account. So that's how we go about that, right? Moving on, do you provide POS? Again, we don't do POS, but we actually integrate with POS vendor. So we have already some of the POS vendor that we actually be able to integrate is like StoreHub, Alimon. If you are doing F&B, you might actually come across Alimon as well. GoMana, and these are some of the POS vendor, just to name a few. But even if your POS vendor is not fully integrated, as long as your POS can actually export the CSV file, the Excel file, we can actually integrate it, no problem. So can you show foreign exchange function for this? Yes, we have foreign exchange. I mean, we have the foreign currency in our system so that you can actually invoice your customer in a foreign currency. Does the system have trial balance, aging, and AR and AP aging? Yes. To answer you, short answer, yes. Does the system have able to automate in consolidation account?
Consolidation.
Right. Okay, this is not a feature that we have. Consolidation account is mostly is not so popular among the micro and small businesses. I think is this is more for the group of companies. So again, this story is not designed for that scale of company. So this is not one of the feature that we actually focus on. But we will also like to integrate with some larger system lah, for you to actually what. E-billing quota meaning max no, I think I answered this already previously. You can actually like issue as many invoices as you like. How do I apply for the MDEP matching grant? So if you want to, I think that there are very a lot of all these technology solution provider right now that is actually already certified TSP for MDEP. So there are so many channels that you can actually apply for this. The easiest way is you can just go to MDEP website, and then it will actually bring you to the BSN website. So BSN website, there is one form for you to actually download, and you have to fill in it. Then that's how you actually apply. But the easier way is you just come to the vendor. So you can just come to us, or you can just approach any of the matching grant solution provider, and they will actually, I'm sure that we are more than happy to help you throughout these processes. So what are the types of accounting reports can be generated from the system as planned? So for the S plan, we only covered two two reports, P&L and balance sheet. That's for the financial reports. So what you don't have is like trial balance, aging, statement of account, and stuff like that. So so S plan is actually meant for those sole prop or some new startup. But if you want to enjoy the full facility, I would still encourage you to go for the M plan, because it's not too much big difference, but you get to enjoy a lot more. Right. Software dashboard look good, but my concern is data privacy. Looks like you are holding all your clients' data, sales invoice. How should we rectify this part? Okay, I think this is the same challenge that every cloud solution provider is actually facing. So there's no one answers fit all. It seems that for you, it's more on the data privacy part. It can go with the like Privacy Act. That's the legal way of doing it. Of course, technically bit of it, we have all the firewall, we have all our SOP. We actually applying our ISO certified, just for you to have a peace of mind that we are handling your data in a good way, right? So can it support UPS import? UPS import, we haven't tried before, but you can actually export the data file over, and our tech will be more than happy to actually help you throughout that. So what are the main difference between SML packages? So I think for SML packages, the difference is we try not to complicate the package design. So therefore, we actually have very similar feature, but then for the S is actually designed for the startup business, a very new startup, maybe just 1 to 3 months old. They're still not sure how their business is moving on, but still we want to encourage them to start digitalizing their business. So therefore, they can actually start with the S plan. Then as soon as they start to get comfortable about their business, then gain some confidence, we will always encourage them to move to the M plan. Because why? M is actually a more full-fledged feature. So as you grow, then you might have more and more users going on. Because the way that we actually encourage the customer is that you don't ask your, of course you can actually hire an admin to actually do all the clerical tasks, issuing the invoice and whatnot. But for us, in our opinion, we will always encourage you to actually pass this on to the salesperson, because they are the one that on the field, right? So they understand the customer expectation the most. They know what the customer need. Then they can actually, as long as the software is simple enough, they can actually just let the customer, I mean the salesperson, to issue the invoice or quotation on the go. And we, of course, we also have the mobile version. They can actually issue it from iPad and I mean the smartphone and stuff like that. So you can actually pass it on. So the moment when you grow your team, your sales team larger, and then you might need more users, that's where you start to want to upgrade to the L plan. So that's the main difference. But of course, we also like to introduce more. I would say that we would want to make it so affordable that as long as we have any new feature coming in, we also want to open it up for the M plan at the very least. So we would not want to have some exclusivity on the L plan only, but then not on the M plan. So that's how we actually going to design our package, right?
There's a few questions regards to if they can change packages, upgrade from S to M anytime they want.
Yes, yes.
How's the
Yeah.
calculation like?
Okay, right. That's very good question. I think we work just like how all those typical subscription based software works. So we will actually, you can always upgrade or downgrade anytime as you like. And then you can, I mean, the calculation will go by a prorated. So you will just prorate, the system will do the calculation. So we will prorate the rate for you, and then you get to, you know, like agree or not. Then as soon as you decide, then we will switch it for you. Right. So
There's two more questions. Would you like to answer offline or online up to you?
well, I think I will take it offline for
Okay.
now. Yep.
Okay. There's
Yep.
two more questions, and I think whoever asked these two questions, Bryan will answer you personally offline. Thank you so much, Bryan, for your
Yep.
time and for your sharing regards to, you know, how to close your accounts without an accountant, especially when currently SMEs are at home,
Right.
literally at home. So thank you so much for sharing.
Right.
And
Right.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.